Lorena is up. We're coming up. There you go. So today, right, we left off on Wednesday. What we did when we talked about lab safety and lab safety rules that we needed to go over. A lot of you haven't had some lab experience, you haven't had a lot, and it's required by law every year that I do go through and make sure that you know what's going on as far as lab safety rule goes, so we review those things. So today, what I'm asking you to do is to go back and think about, of your choice, 3 of those lab safety rules, and then give justification as to why each of those rules is important. Okay, so I'll give you the next 3-4 minutes, knock that out, we'll review that, and we'll pick up for the day. Mario, you got a question?
Yes, I didn't get most of it done.
We'll talk about that after the bell ring. Right? Remember, per protocol, we address those things after the bell ring. All right. Take off. Timer is rolling. Got it. Thank you.
That newspaper thing? You know what I'm talking about? That looks like.
Miss Carl?
Yeah.
Would you watch them for just a second? I'm gonna take this thing.
Oh, sorry. Bless you. About a minute and a half remaining.
As soon as you all, Sarah, as soon as you all get done, let's go finish up.
So, how many next week?
We'll talk about that after you're over. We gotta cover them first. Should tell you. Seconds. Okay. Let's go ahead and talk about these, okay? So, I'll just randomly call in folks. Give me one rule and your justification as to why that safety rule is important, okay? Let's see. Dustin, give me one.
Wear goggles because the same thing you get in your eye. Blind.
To wear safety goggles. How often should we wear them?
Anytime we do it,
Yeah, at all times during the lab, right? And why was your justification? Or what was your justification?
because the chemical we get in your eyes and on
Yeah, but it's not just a chemical, but what else?
you, glasses.
Yeah, glassware, chemical, right? Lots of things can happen. So you want to make sure that those are on you at all times. Is it ever okay to pop them up over your forehead?
No.
No, right? Right, so they're not forehead protectors, they are eye safety, right? Eye protectors. All right, another rule. Allie, what you got?
Don't touch hot glass, because it looks like cold glass.
Okay.
And burn your finger. Make sure you wear, what's it called, the hot?
There's like an oven mitt,
Oven mitt, yeah.
right? Yeah.
Always
Or, for us, most of the time we aren't going to use the mitts, we would actually use what? Do you know yet? Somebody said it.
Tongs.
Tongs, right? You're going to use those tongs to pull those off of the flames with. Okay, we're going to look at those things today so that you get an understanding of what they are and how to use them. Okay? So yeah, absolutely. Hot glass looks the same as cool glass. There's no differentiation in color. So you want to make sure that you're treating those things safely and handling those things correctly, right, with your tongs. All right? So that's two. Let's go for a couple more. Tony, pick one.
You should always read the instructions when you do a lab and everything. And the reason why, because you don't just want to go in there blindly, mix some chemicals, for example, and then something bad happens.
Absolutely. I'm glad you said that, right? Read the instructions. How far in advance do I give them to you? At least a day, sometimes 2 days in advance, right? And so, as Tony said, you're supposed to read those ahead of time. So you're going to take those home that night, read through them, do the prelim questions, come back the next day and ask if anything doesn't make sense, or if you see a piece of an equipment or piece of tool that you haven't used before, right? So we'll go make sure we go through those. Good. Let's see.
Tie your hair back so it doesn't get in the open fire and burnt.
Yeah, tie your hair back, right? Just like I do. Hey. In all seriousness though, right? You want to put your hair back, especially if you're shoulder length or more, right? Pull those things back. Even if you're a gentleman and you've got longer hair that's maybe down, you may want to make sure that that's back as well. We just want to make sure that if you are reaching over a flame, which you shouldn't be reaching over it, right? But if you're turning or your hair's falling, it's not falling into that flame, or it's not going to knock over a beaker or a cylinder and cause a spill, all those type of things, right? So make sure those are back, okay? All right, and let's do one more. Asia, what do you got?
I said if anything breaks, notify the teacher so he can help you, so you don't hurt yourself.
Absolutely. So if something breaks, glassware, whatever it might be, let me know, right? It's not that you're going to get in trouble, but I need to know, A, how to properly tell you to clean that up with whatever it may have in it, may have a chemical in it that requires special handling precautions. And then B, if you break something, then I need to know I need to reorder it. Okay, so that would be something I need to know. Don't try to stick it in the drawer and not tell me about it. And then we've got to clean that up carefully. Are we going to put broken glass in the trash? No. Where are we going to put broken glass?
In the other trash.
A specified either bucket or cardboard box, whatever I have available during those times. Okay? Good. All right, make sure your name's on your bell ringer. You should have 3 for the week. Monday we were out of school. Yesterday I was sick. So you've got 3 for the week. Make sure your name is on it and pass it forward, please. Thank you.
got one coming up? Yeah, he wants to stay.
Dog ear it, not ear. Okay?
We got.
All right, so today what we're going to do, we only got about 6 slides that we need to finish up, then I'm going to move you to the back, and we're going to go through some of those items in real life. Okay?
We got to Hagen section.
Yep, I'm going to flip it through there. Okay. So we get through all of this.
Yeah. You got to like the.
I think we finished Hagen.
Did we get to this one?
Yeah.
We got to 6 on Hagen section.
Okay, right there.
Yeah, we
All right.
finished that.
So then we start first aid. Okay, so it's not much. Injury, right? The injury we're looking at right there is a burn. What you want to do, and I'm telling you this because this can happen before I even get over to you if you need to, right? If you've got a burn, you immediately want to flush that with cold water until the burning sensation is lessened. Now that doesn't mean it's going to stop, right? It'll probably continue to burn, but you don't want it to be so severe. So you can just run some cold tap water, and we've got 6 sinks in this room, so you can access those, turn those on, get it, go ahead and start covering over the burn. Hopefully it's just a fingertip or something small, right? If it's something larger, then definitely when you get you in the shower or something to get that cooled down. But let me know as soon as you do it, and I go ahead and you can stick it in the sink, let it be soaking or running water over it. That will help you. Let me go back. There we go. And then depending on the severity, if it is just like a fingertip or something, which is most common for us, that's probably the most common injury we have the last 14 years that I've done lab, is just a burnt like fingertip or something where somebody has had. Probably just maybe a $50 size burn or something popped out and spilled on them, right? So, which is pretty good actually for 14 years, right? You don't want any injuries, but those are kind of the most common, and it kind of goes back to the one that we talked about earlier today. The hot glass looks like cool glass. You forget which one came off the burner, right? You've got 2 identical beakers, and then you go and grab one, right? You usually get a fingertip or something that gets a little burnt. Nothing too severe, something just kind of minor. All right, next up. Cuts and bruises, right? Hopefully we don't have any of these. Do not touch an open wound without safety gloves, right? If somebody is bleeding, that's something I definitely need to know. Pressing directly on the minor cuts will stop bleeding in a few minutes. Apply a cold compress if you've got some sort of swelling going on, right? And that's something I would need to know too, so we can get you down and get you a bag of ice or something if you, for some reason, hit your elbow on the lab station and it starts to swell, whatever it might be, just let me know. I've never really had any cuts in here. We don't do dissections. We don't use scalpels that often. I know Miss Neal has had a few cuts down in the art room.
Yeah.
But thankfully, I've not had a lot of issues with cuts. I have had a few projects where we've used box cutter type items or scalpel type items, but nobody's cut themselves as of yet, knock on wood, right? So hopefully that won't happen, right? That's first regard for you is your safety. But if it does, you need to make sure that you're notifying myself or Miss Carl if she's in here so we can go through that. Take care of you. Get you bandaged up or get you downstairs, whatever needs to happen. Okay. Everybody got that one? All right, moving on. All right, eye injuries. In case something does happen, Where are your two eye wash stations located?
On the side.
Yeah, on the sides, right? What color are they in?
Green.
Green. Okay, so the eye wash stations are in green on each side of the wall. What we want to do is you'll grab that eye wash bottle, twist the top off, and you'll start to flush the eyes immediately with plenty of water for several minutes. Okay, if it's a foreign object that's in there, don't rub your eye. So for example, hopefully it never happens, but if something happens where you've got glass,
Miss
that's-
Carl.
She was, and then
She's in her
room. Something happens that glass gets lodged in your eye. The worst thing you can do is actually rub that, right? Because it's going to continue, that shard of glass is just going to cut the eye even more. Okay, so you want to make sure that you're not rubbing the eye. Okay, or even if it's a chemical spill, right? If you're rubbing your eye, you're just washing your eye in that acid or that chemical that is spilled in your eye anyway. And we want to make sure we're flushing that. We're going to do that for several minutes. Even if we run out of water in one of those, we can go grab the other one and twist it off and flush it as well and get you medical treatment after that. So that's the first thing we want to do, is to cleanse and get that out, whatever it might be. Okay. But again, if you've got your safety goggles on, that shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
Okay? It's a lot easier to get a shard of glass out of your forehead than it is your eyeball. Do you agree?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, moving on.
You get a shard glass out of anywhere.
Shard of glass.
Yeah.
I take a pair of tweezers and pull it out of your forehead, or you go to the doctor.
I'll die.
If it's in your eye, they'll have to put some numbing solution in
No thanks, I'll just
and
die.
pull those out as well. Yeah. You won't die, but you may feel like it. Okay, so what we're going to do next, right? I want to move towards the back of the room for just a second and go through a couple of things with you as far as lab equipment goes. Let's see if I can find. Okay, so if you will turn yourselves around, look towards the back. I'm going to turn this around as well. There we go. All right, so if you guys would sort of just line up over here on the side of the bench. Okay, so you can spread out where you can see.
It's not a bench, that's a table.
So you can spread yourselves out where you can see. Everybody should be able to have access.
I need to see all the benches.
We're going to talk about a couple of things, a couple pieces of equipment, all that good stuff. Let me go flip the switch for the gas. Okay, this, what is this called?
That's a Bunsen burner.
Yeah, Bunsen burner, right? Let's talk about the parts and pieces of a Bunsen burner for a second. Most of you all have had maybe minimal experience. I know when you are in middle school, you have zero experience with this, right? I don't believe this is even an option for you in middle school.
I've never.
So what you've got